And at a certain point in the league's existence, I'm gonna need for Kelsey Mitchell to get the same whistle as each other stars. The way she gets assaulted is insane, actually, and I've considered roping my sister in it to have off his first charges. Now, this is when Caitlin Clark chimed in. Caitlin Clark said, "Careful, you're going to get fined." Then Sydney Colson said, "I can't get..."
The WNBA is once again under fire as Caitlin Clark and Sydney Colson refuse to stay quiet about the league's persistent referee bias. This time, there's no holding back. Indiana Fever's stars are calling out some of the most obvious double standards in professional sports. Let's break down how this latest controversy ignited and why it could finally shine a spotlight on the WNBA's biggest hidden issues.
Who paying you, ref? Who you betting on? And mind you, there was some problems going on with the shot clock throughout the game. But man, there is no way. Right at the end of the game, you should be on top of it. You telling me you're not paying attention to when some hands touch that ball? Come on, man. And then to reward them with the timeout, like, fam, that's crazy work. Look, Caitlin Clark, like, what is going on here? Like, no. Look, Caitlin ready to run the floor, fam.
After the Indiana Fever edged out the Los Angeles Sparks in a heart-stopping 76-75 win on August 29th, what should have been a moment of pure celebration quickly spiraled into controversy. Watching from home, Sydney Colson, who's been sidelined all season with a torn ACL, witnessed something that instantly sent her blood boiling.
We definitely have to check for betting slips for this guy right here. I think his name is like Agun Agazi, because it sure seemed like he did not want to let the Fever take away this win, making the last 1.9 seconds last almost 5 minutes. He was just like letting them call a reset timeout, and then he was like, no, it's a foul. But I think the worst part about that 1.9 seconds was when 0.4 seconds was left on the clock and Kelsey Mitchell was at the free throw line. She was trying to miss on purpose because that takes time off of the clock, because if she would have made it in, they would have been able to inbound and possibly do a tip in. But this guy allowed a reset timeout. When do you allow a reset timeout?
In the second quarter, Kelsey Mitchell charged toward the basket when Kelsey Plum grabbed her with unmistakable intent to stop the play. The foul was so blatant that even fans in the highest rows could spot it instantly.
Oh, there's Leah. You gave them every chance to win. If you look at this in slow motion, you can see Caitlin Clark clearly smiling in confusion, smiling in, did that really just happen? Smiling in, you sly W. And she says, she points at the other team, you gave them every chance to win. Oh, goodness gracious. Caitlin Clark, she's chomping at the bits to start talking to these referees during the game, during free throws, after.
Amazingly, the referees completely ignored the blatant foul, as if they were watching an entirely different game. Mitchell still powered through to finish the drive with a layup, but the damage had already been done. The Fever bench erupted in outrage, and that's when the tension really started to boil over.
Everybody saw in that game. Like, it didn't really matter what was going on. We all knew what was happening. We all knew what was happening there. And the game was being given. The game was absolutely being given to the Sparks. They were giving the Sparks every single chance possible to go and win that game. Even though realistically, did they deserve to win that game? Hell no. Hell no. They did not. And I mean that. They did not deserve to win that game.
Even from the bench, Caitlin Clark, despite nursing an injury, couldn't stay quiet. She jumped to her feet, yelling at the referees. "Call it! Call it!" Her teammate, Lexi Hull, equally furious, also stood up to protest, and was immediately slapped with a technical foul. Pause for a second. Hull gets penalized for showing frustration over a blatant missed call, while the player who actually committed the foul continues playing as if nothing happened.
Please tell me y'all saw Caitlin Clark, the GOAT. Y'all saw Caitlin Clark crash out on the bald head ref last night. Please tell me y'all saw this. And she had Caitlin Clark spazzed on the referee last night, and I'm not mad about it. I see a lot of the haters talking about, oh, she be doing too much with the man. Mind your business. You are not in a GOAT's place, so stay out of a GOAT's business, okay? It's that simple. The officiating was awful last night. I don't know what was going on in that Los Angeles Sparks Indiana Fever game, but the officiating was flat out.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe, because here's where things get absolutely wild. Watching the chaos from her living room, Sydney Colson finally had enough. She jumped on social media and fired off a tweet that captured exactly what fans were thinking. At some point in this league's history, Kelsey Mitchell deserves the same whistle as other stars. The way she gets hacked is actually insane. I've even thought about asking my sister's office to file charges. This wasn't just an injured player venting for attention. Colson was dead serious, calling out the systematic targeting of Indiana Fever players, and she wasn't afraid to put it in writing for the entire world to see. Her post spread like wildfire, quicker than a Caitlin Clark three-pointer, and that's when Caitlin Clark herself decided to join the conversation.
But Kelsey Mitchell's whistle last night was horrific. And Kelsey drove to the basket a lot. She is the type of person that just like goes through a lot of defenders, and she wasn't getting a call. This really was not her game. She was not hitting it from the three whatsoever, but everyone is entitled to having a bad game here and there, and I think she was kind of due for one because of the tear that she's been on lately. Even Sid Colson took to Twitter to talk about it, saying, at a certain point in the league's existence, I'm gonna need Kelsey Mitchell to get the same whistle as other stars. The way she gets assaulted is insane, actually, and I've considered roping my sister in to have her pursued.
Clark's reply was short, sharp, and dripping with sarcasm. Careful, you're going to get fined. Just 5 words. But they captured everything wrong with how the WNBA handles player criticism. It was a clear jab at the league's ongoing crackdown on anyone who dares to question its officiating. And Clark wasn't speaking out of thin air. She knew the pattern all too well. Her teammate, Sophie Cunningham, had become the league's punching bag simply for calling out referee incompetence. Cunningham hasn't just been fined once or twice. She's been hit 3 separate times for voicing frustration. First, a $500 fine for a TikTok video where she lip-synced to lyrics calling refs stupid and useless. Then, another $1,500 fine for remarks she made on her own podcast about referee inconsistency.
Careful, you're going to get fined. Then Sydney Colson said, I can't get no more fine. So Lynn Dunn stated, agree, I will help pay the fine. So that's what Lynn Dunn stated yesterday about the fines. And Caitlin Clark said, love it. Everyone listen to Lynn. So it's definitely a lot of exchange going back and forth there. That's crazy. Erica's in the mix.
But it doesn't stop there. Cunningham was slapped with a 3rd fine after she questioned why rookie star Paige Buckers seemed to be getting special treatment from the officials. Cunningham didn't hold back, saying, those refs gave her every single whistle last night. You couldn't even touch her. It's so frustrating. And if that's how you're going to call the game, then give our guards the same respect for daring to point out the obvious. That referee bias exists. Cunningham was punished yet again. Think about the message the league is sending here. Stay quiet, accept whatever treatment we hand out, or we'll fine you into the ground. It's less like fair sports governance, and more like a protection racket hiding under the label of professional basketball. Sydney Colson saw this pattern crystal clear. That's why her response to Clark's sarcastic warning carried so much weight. She shot back, I can't get no more fine. Translation? She's already been financially penalized for speaking truth to power, and she's reached her breaking point.
Like, I love Paige to death. Do not get me wrong. I think, I think she's a hell of a player and, would love to play with her one day. But those refs were giving her every freaking whistle last night. You literally couldn't touch her. And that shit is so annoying to me. And if you're going to do that, then give it to our guards. I just hate the inconsistency.
When whistles are player focused, that's I think that's a huge problem. But then again, I don't know what sport that doesn't exist. But she's a rookie. She shouldn't get whistles as a rookie.
Facts.
Is that fair to say?
We know. Yes, or we know she's a good rookie and she's gonna get some whistles, but to get the treatment she got last night was.
And here's where the outrage really kicks in. The numbers tell the story. Caitlin Clark alone absorbed 17% of all flagrant fouls in the league this season. 17%. That's not bad luck. That's systematic targeting disguised as competition, and Clark isn't the only one paying the price. As Sydney Colson pointed out, Kelsey Mitchell is practically mauled game after game with almost no whistles to protect her. In the matchup against the Sparks, Mitchell attacked the rim all night but got to the free throw line just twice. Meanwhile, other stars enjoy constant trips to the stripe for far less contact. The double standard couldn't be more obvious. Instead of fixing the problem, the WNBA chooses to silence criticism by punishing its players. Protecting referee egos has become more important than ensuring fair play. Just ask Sophie Cunningham, who summed it up perfectly. If I were a ref, I know I'd miss calls sometimes. But when it's an easy call right in front of you, over and over again, what are you doing? And how did the league respond? By hitting her wallet, not fixing the officiating.
More people are talking about the refs than that. More people are talking about Caitlin Clark's reaction than that. And that just sums up how bad the refereeing is that we have seen an unbelievable game. We have seen an unbelievable game. A game where you're like, okay, maybe, just maybe, the Fever have put, well, not even just maybe, the Fever put themselves in a great position. They put themselves in a great position to succeed. But now you're looking and you're like, what do people remember from this game? Caitlin Clark having to be restrained by her.
This goes far beyond a few missed whistles. It's a clear, systematic pattern of bias that threatens the credibility of the entire league. Fever head coach Stephanie White has been warning about it for months, describing the officiating as flat-out egregious and pointing to the double standards at play. And for daring to tell the truth, she's been fined as well. In today's WNBA, honesty has become a punishable offense. What makes it worse is how blatant the favoritism has become. You can literally watch referees enforce two different sets of rules in the very same game. A foul for one team magically becomes a no call for another. Hard screens that draw instant whistles against Indiana somehow turn into clean plays when other teams set them. And then there's the technical foul problem. Caitlin Clark gets barked at by officials just for showing emotion after an obvious missed call, while opposing players can dish out actual flagrant fouls and walk away without so much as a warning. It's like watching two entirely different rulebooks applied on the same court.
Okay. It was this dude right here. And from what I've seen, the man has been a part of controversial calls all year. He's been a part of it all year, man. Oh my goodness. What was his name? Jack, what you say? Wnba. Wnba, man. This man is diabolical work to the WNBA. He's betting. Somebody get the shame bell. Ding, ding, shame. Ding, ding, shame. Ding, ding. Come on, man.
The league's use of financial intimidation looks even worse when you compare it to player salaries. Sophie Cunningham, who earns roughly $90,000 this season, has already lost more than $2,000 in fines, money taken simply because she dared to call out poor officiating in her own workplace. That's not accountability, that's punishment for speaking the truth. But here's the twist. The WNBA's crackdown is spectacularly backfiring. Instead of shutting down criticism, it's created a Streisand effect, where every fine only draws more attention and more support for the players. Fever fans have even offered to cover Sydney Colson's potential fines, and respected figures like former executive Lynn Dunn are openly siding with the athletes over the league office. And the timing couldn't be worse for the WNBA. The league is experiencing record-breaking growth, thanks in large part to Caitlin Clark's historic rookie season. Yet instead of protecting their rising stars, they're letting them get hacked on the court and punishing anyone who dares to speak out. It's like owning the goose that lays golden eggs and then shooting it because you're annoyed by the sound it makes.
Wnba, how much money you got on that game? You took the Sparks to win, huh? Didn't you? You took the Sparks to win, huh? Didn't you? It's okay. It's okay. Maybe next time. Maybe next time you'll get the benefit of the doubt. The referees are bad, Bo. The referees are absolutely horrendous in this game. There's no other way to call it for what it is. The referees are abysmal. And you can't help but wonder, is there foul play going on here? Is there foul play going on? Yeah, that's just one example, but we can go game by game and just think.
What makes Sydney Colson's tweet so powerful is the fact that she isn't even on the court right now. She's sidelined with a torn ACL, Yet from home, she still can't stomach the blatant mistreatment of her teammates. That level of solidarity and courage exposes just how broken the officiating system really is. And Caitlin Clark's quick reply to Coulson about potential fines shows how deeply normalized this financial intimidation has become. Players now have to measure every word they say publicly against the risk of league punishment. It's turned legitimate criticism into something treated like insubordination. The most frustrating part? The WNBA could fix this tomorrow. They could improve referee training, build real accountability, and stop treating valid criticism as if it were a personal attack. Instead, they've chosen financial bullying and victim blaming. Meanwhile, the games keep suffering. The officiating is so inconsistent it makes you wonder if some refs are even watching the same sport as the fans. Clear fouls are ignored, phantom calls appear at crucial moments, and star players who should be protected are instead left vulnerable to relentless targeting.
Be a lawyer. Sid Coulson is someone that everyone used to call the face of the league because she gets along with everybody. So when she's taking to Twitter to complain about something, it must be bad. Because usually she's just really funny, kind of cracking jokes here and there. And although this was pretty funny, there was a tone of seriousness, like calling out the referees, because the way that the Indiana Fever has been officiated, I think she finally understands from being on the team. And I'm telling you, this team sticks together. Her whistle was so bad last night that Lexi Hull even got a tech for it. And we are talking about Lexi Hull. Has not had a tech yet.
The pattern couldn't be clearer anymore. The WNBA has built a system where some players are handed special treatment, while others, especially those on teams like Indiana, are forced to play by an entirely different set of rules. This isn't about fair competition or enforcing the game properly. It's about protecting whatever storyline the league wants to push. But now, with Caitlin Clark and Grace Coulson refusing to stay silent, that entire setup is being exposed for what it really is, a game tilted by referee bias rather than true basketball talent. And the league's reaction? Slapping fines on anyone who dares to point it out. That alone proves how desperate they are to keep up the illusion of fairness. The reality is brutal. Players are now willing to sacrifice thousands of dollars just to call out corruption. When professionals would rather take a financial hit than bite their tongue, you know the system isn't just flawed, it's broken to the core.
Clark's got every single call imaginable. And it was just noticeable, to the point you got Caitlin Clark running on the floor, ready to crash out on a ref in the middle of the game, to the point where it's obvious. It's obvious. It's like the fix was in. The fix was completely in. So the WNBA needs to do something about this. Kathy Engelberg, you need to get a hold of what's going on here. The officiating Kelsey Mitchell getting knocked around like a damn pinball.
The WNBA's biggest stars are finally calling out the league's most glaring problem. And instead of fixing it, the league is responding with fines and financial threats. It's the clearest example yet of just how badly this organization is being run. Players like Caitlin Clark and Sydney Coulson deserve real credit for saying out loud what so many others are quietly thinking. The real question now is whether the WNBA will finally listen to its players and fans, or keep hiding behind intimidation and denial. And if history tells us anything, real change isn't coming anytime soon. But thanks to voices like Clark and Coulson, the truth is out in the open, and the world is finally seeing through the league's polished facade.